Hi everybody. We'll give you a couple minutes to find us, and in the meantime, introduce ourselves. Do you want to do the intro today?
You do such a good job that you go ahead.
If you're new here, my name's Lindsay. This is my husband, Jess. He will warm up as we go. We're here every Tuesday at 7:30. We're answering questions that were sent in by you guys. Sometimes it's a question, sometimes it's a topic for discussion. And if you have a hard time, if you have poor internet and you have a hard time connecting with us, then you can always catch the replay. The replay will record all the way through, so you won't have any skipping. And the best way to get that is by signing up for our email list, which you can do, and then you will have the replay delivered directly to your inbox every Tuesday morning, along with an opportunity to respond to that email, because it'll have the topic for that night in there. You can respond to that, add anything or ask questions that we can answer live for you. It'll also have any of our new tack items in there, anything that's going on inside of our online coaching program, Momentum, which is open right now, which I'm going to chat to you about in a minute, and any clinics or events that we have going on. So you can sign up for that. If you're not there already, you can sign up for that by hitting the sign up button on the cover page of our Facebook page. You can hit the link in our bio. If you're finding us on Instagram, you can also just type in www.hayescofellperformancehorsescom/subscribe, and you can get on that list there. If there is something that we have covered already in one of our lives and you're looking for some info, you can go to our website, hayescofellperformancehorsescom, and under the education tab, there are a couple free videos, free coaching videos, and there's a search bar there, and anything that we have ever talked about in any of our lives is searchable. So you could search lead changes, and anytime that we've ever talked about lead changes in one of our lives will come up right to the timestamp. You can choose whether you listen to it as an audio file or whether you watch the video, and you can get the information that way as well. In there's also the information about Momentum, which is our online coaching program, which is where we are demonstrating exercises on horseback, showing you how to do them. Some of the videos have videos of non-pros doing those same exercises and getting some coaching. There are diagrams, there are audio lessons, there are all kinds of fun things in there and resources to help you between lessons and clinics to keep your momentum going and give you that additional support from, essentially it's giving you additional coaching support when you're not at your coaches or at your trainers. Tonight we are shouting out Tara from the Cold Cactus Boutique. Tara is sending us our show shirts for this year. We have been sponsored by Tara and the Cold Cactus for a few years. I feel like it's kind of redundant to mention her because I know that so many of you already know about the Cold Cactus Boutique, but if you do not, you should check it out. Tara has some great products, great customer service, and she's local to us. She's great. You should check her out. And the other shout out for today is to Brenda, who has watched every one of our lives. She says she's watched every one of our lives, and we got to meet her finally in person today. Shout out to Brenda. Okay, so tonight our topic, how to make showing affordable and what things you can skimp on, what things you need to plan to spend money on. Do you want to start?
Go for it. You start.
You want me to start? Okay. I think where I want to start. So first of all, the questions that we had that were sent in after we sent that email out this morning that said what we're going to talk about today were about what things we need to pack. What are all the things that we need to pack for a horse show? And I think we're actually going to turn that into a separate conversation because what we're trying to address here is how to make the whole experience kind of more affordable, what things you can spend money on, what things you could try to save on in terms of like the whole, like trailering to the show, equipment, paid warm-ups, entry fees, all that stuff. the things that you need to bring, I think we'll do a whole separate live on that so that we can really serve you well and give you the answers that you need for that. For me, if somebody was going to say what is the best way to save money on a horse show, I would say you need to be prepared. That one of the biggest ways that I see people waste money at a horse show is by not being prepared in how they have fitted their horses up, fed their horses up, worked with them, practiced all of the maneuvers, practiced and got themselves ready for the show. If you are not well prepared and you go to the horse show, it doesn't matter what you spend money on, it's going to be a waste. And you're wasting your time too. So I feel like for me, the biggest thing is be prepared ahead of time, do the riding, get the coaching help if you need it, do all of the things so that when you go to the show, you're really making the most of that show. Do you want to go? Or what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think
That feels like a Debbie Downer response. It feels like people want like a really sexy way to save money, and I'm like, you just have to do the work. But
well, and I always describe it as entertainment value. Like, if I have let's say somebody that hasn't been working very hard, but they want to get their baby out to a horse show, you know, go to a club show. A horse doesn't know the difference if they're at a club show or at a major event or whatever. So if you're going just to ride a colt around, get them used to the sights the first time, get them off property.
you don't even have to go to a show. You can just haul them off any property.
Well, and
like,
yeah, go to there.
Yeah.
You know, you go to a club show, you buy a $20 membership and a $2 entry fee into the reining or the whatever class you want to go into. You know, you'll spend more at the food booth than you will anywhere else. I see a lot of people, they all, you know, want to go to a big show. Well, big shows have big expenses, so they have to charge stall fees, they have to charge grounds fees, stuff like that. And then it adds up. As where if you go to the club show, you know, it's $2, you know, or $5 or whatever, but it's cheap. So know where your best, I always say entertainment value.
close to home too. Most of the time you can find club shows close to home.
Sure, it's close to home, and if you're out for that reason, it works really well. And then pick and choose where you want to go to. You know, if somebody just wants to work on something, you know, they can go to these shows. They can pick and choose. One thing I always like to see people do is do a couple of small shows every year, and then, you know, maybe one or two bigger shows, or more if they're ready. But even if they don't, you know, a lot of people don't feel like they're ready. Instead of going to like every single big show in your province or state, you know, and spending a lot of money on stall fees and judges fees and entry fees and everything like that, go to some small shows and then just pick and choose your bigger shows, so that when you go, you don't feel financially drained, and then you'll enjoy it better. You know, we see people kind of get talked into from their friends, or just the mentality, well, I have to go to that show, you know, I'm part of that group. Well, no, you don't. You know, and then when you do pick and choose a big show, budget for it and whatever, then you are, and prepare for it, make sure you're really prepared and going for it, then you appreciate that a lot more. If you, you know, when you go to a, well, we used to go to a lot of quarter horse shows just to have cheap lope throughs, and I think those days are past. The quarter horse shows have increased their entry fees quite a bit. You know, but I'll still take off down to a little club show every once in a while if I got a free weekend and I want some babies out. And then when I take them to a major event, you know, I feel like I've had them out. I feel like I've done my time, and they don't know whether they're in a club show pen or they're at the major. So it's about giving that horse the experience. and then I feel like it's money well spent. And I think that's something I always get back to is the entertainment value. If I go to a big show and I spend a lot of money, but I have a great time, my horses are ready, and I have a really good time, I don't mind spending that extra money. If I go to a big show and my horse just is not that caliber, isn't, my expectations need to be different. But if I went to a smaller one-day show, was it value in going there? And I think that's so important. The amount of fun and fun can come from different ways. People look at that differently. Like some people fun is to win. Some people fun is to enjoy the weekend. We have a few people that come to shows horseless anymore, but still come to the show just to, So their entertainment, it's their entertainment. They go camping.
Okay, how about this one? Is this a way to save on a horse show by not doing a paid warm-up? Can you skip paid warm-ups, or paid warm-ups something that you should plan to budget for?
90% of the time I say a paid warm-up is your better value.
Yeah.
Because if your horse fidgets in the show pen or the class that you were wanting to, you get really frustrated because you go, man, I put this much money into him, and it's something that could have been fixed in the paid warm-up.
As long as the paid warm-up is cheaper than the class, then you're better to spend the money on the paid warm-up.
Yeah, there's times we just put them in a cheap class because it's cheaper, and we'll just school on the class.
Yeah.
There's always things you can do. And I think, other than that, I think some of the big ways that we see people, I don't know if waste money is the biggest one, is, everybody wants like a tack stall to themselves, like plan ahead and share, like these are obviously not club shows anymore, but share tack stalls with a bunch of people.
Or don't get a tack stall.
Well, or that's another one. You don't have to.
A tack stall is kind of a convenience. It's not a necessity. You don't have to have a tack stall to be at a horse show. You can haul your tack back and throw it in your truck and lock it up.
And put it in bags. Like
we've
most
had
shows are
horse
pretty
shows
safe.
where we've gone and we've had 2 people sleeping in the front of the truck, like somebody in the driver's seat, somebody in the passenger seat, somebody across the back seat. We've piled people into the horse trailer.
We've had some hillbilly runs.
We've not had tack stalls. We've just hauled our stuff back and forth all weekend. There's lots of ways that you can. Cut back on some of those really big expenses, I think.
Sure.
Another one I
Bring your
think
own
is
food,
really
little
a
things
good
like
point is you. It's funny that I'm saying this too. Is that you don't have to have new tack and you don't have to have expensive tack. If you want to have a brand new custom saddle that you show in, then hit me up and I'll set you up with that. But you don't have to have that. That's not a necessity. What you have to have is well fitted, clean tack, and you are in a perfectly good place to be presentable in front of the judge.
And I think it goes to saying too, the judge doesn't care.
No.
And I like good equipment. I, did not grow up wealthy. I wasn't going to have a custom saddle, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. So I always bought, for many years, I bought good. And, I've seen lots of times where, everybody thinks, oh, I need this to show. Know the rules. Don't do something that's not in the rule book, but it does not say you need a certain type of saddle or a certain type of chaps. Heck, truthfully, you don't even
have
need
to have chaps. You don't have to have a hat. You just have to have a helmet.
Yeah, well, you have to have
something on your head. Yeah, but you don't have to
cowboy
go
hat
out and
or
buy
helmet.
a cowboy hat. You can use, if you're riding in a helmet, you can use a helmet.
And even if you buy, you say it's funny, you're saying about the things I used to talk about.
No, you're talking about hats.
I like good hats.
Yeah, you don't have to have expensive bits.
No, now don't get silly. Right, and for many years I never did. I mean,
I think
taking care of what you have, I think that's a big thing. You can have cheaper hat for a while, but take care of it.
You say that like it hurts you. You can have
It
a cheap
does.
hat for a while if you must.
Anybody that knows me, I love good hats. I love good equipment, hats especially, hats, bridles, stuff like that.
But
A
you
good
don't
hat
have to
really
have that.
makes a look, but if you take
You don't-
care of
yeah.
a cheaper one, you know, from 60 feet away, the judge doesn't care. And I guarantee you, if Flicka runs down there, buries his hocks in the dirt when you say, whoa, shakes the earth, and the judge will still stand up there and go, hey, wait a second here, let's plus this thing. Put more money into the job you're doing instead of those are definite wants, not necessities.
Let's have a look and see what some people are saying, because I saw some things back here. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Nancy. Hi, Pat. Josh, Charla, Lisa, Jen. Anne is shouting out to the horse show moms and dads who help out with show teams. I had a laminated list to make sure we had everything specific to club show or ORHA shows. Oh yeah, having free staff, free help.
And I
Show
think
moms
another
are
one
worth their
that
weight in gold.
there brings up a good point with having a list. You know, make sure you have everything to go show so that you're not buying, you know, oh, I forgot my splint boots, or I forgot, I actually did forget my hat one time, which was oddly enough, and I had to go buy a new one. But, you know, have a list, make sure you know what's in your trailer, so that when you get to the show, you're not buying another set of splint boots that are the same as the ones you have back at home. And I think another one too, like, that works quite well, you get to a show and share stuff with your friends.
Yeah.
You know, not everybody needs to bring...
Call
it's silly
somebody
things.
up and see if you can put your horse on their trailer. Share stuff when you're at the show. Share a hotel room. Share tent it out.
We've really
we have a
gotten to the
customer
point
who-
of being spoiled.
Yeah.
Actually, somebody sent me a thing today. Somebody put it, I don't remember who it is, and I apologize, but somebody put a thing about a show that's in Ontario that's north of here, and they don't have stalls. And it was kind of an, oh my gosh, what, you know, the world's going to come to an end. What do I do? You know, call somebody around there, and you know, it's a multiple day show. Put your horses at somebody's place that's near there. There's lots of people that live near there. The one that they were talking about was Meaford. And we did the same thing. We just went over to somebody that was near there, put our horses in the stalls for the night.
Jessica, if you're watching, thanks again for putting our horses up.
You know, and I think that's, and then the flip side, when somebody is in your area for a horse show, extend the invitation. And I'll tell you the funny part, it's a wonderful way to get to know people.
It is. It can really enhance
And it
the
is fun.
experience. Yeah, and
You know,
if
we
you
got
don't
so
know
used to
somebody,
stalls everywhere.
you're saying like as if, you know, somebody knows. If you don't know somebody, then you can look up, you know, or a riding stable, or you can look up a boarding barn, or you can look up. There are some people are really kind
Or
of
ask
savvy
around.
with.
You'll find people. Just
But
ask
there's
around.
like horse B&Bs now where you can go and stay. I don't know if there would be one in Meaford, but where you can go and stay, you know, as you're traveling or something, where people will put horses up just overnight.
Yeah, it might not be a reining barn, like for us, the reiners, or the, you know, the cowish barns, whatever.
Yeah.
But
Hi,
do
Tara.
that kind of stuff. Somebody just said there, do you bring shavings? Yeah, I mean, you have to watch out. Some of the shows you have to buy shavings through them, and that's a different one. And even there too, like they're going to put a little bit of a premium on the shavings that they're selling. They got to make a little money, and the hassle of it, the convenience of being there, so they're going to charge you for the hassle. Bring your own shavings.
Yeah.
You know, that's one, and it doesn't seem like much, but you start paying.
Just
couple
don't load
dollars.
them in the rain into the living quarters part of your trailer, because the dye will leak off of the bags onto your walls.
I heard that rumor before.
Yeah, we did that.
But I think, yeah, we've gotten so spoiled that we have to
Lacey
have stalls there too.
says, I think a lot of it, like with lots of things, is our own expectations and ideas, when in reality, very few people are inspecting your hats. noticing if you have a tack stall, etc. All that stuff is nice, but really people notice the condition of your horse and how you present things rather than the high-end brands.
Sure.
Yeah, you don't have to have any of those things. You have to have yourself dressed appropriately, your horse dressed appropriately, and you have to run the pattern as it's stated, right? You don't have to do any of that other stuff.
Have a nice
Strip
horse
it right
compared to
down.
everything else.
Lacey, I remember the tent days. Yeah, and Melissa used to bring like a blow-up mattress and set it up in the trunk of her car. Remember that? I don't know if she's planning on doing that this year. Shavings question. Bed and bale.
That sounds like dine and dash.
It does. Sounds like dine and dash. Lots of people used to just buy a tack stall and then set up a cot, set up a gravity. You set up a gravity chair half the time and sleep in the tack stall.
I'm the worst one, especially when, for me, I don't get a lot of sleep at shows because I'm schooling on people's horses and doing lessons through the night. And I refuse to buy a hotel. For me, and this is a different scenario from most people, I refuse to buy a hotel room to be in it for 2 hours in a night.
Yeah, because you're schooling horses, but that's a trainer mentality, not as much a non.
But my job is I have to be up all night. So
your job is up riding horses all night.
yeah, and
yeah.
So yeah, I just have my gravity chair, and
So
all my
then-
customers know if I'm in my gravity chair, you don't bug me. I'm asleep.
So then I'm going to come at this from a different perspective because we've talked about a bunch of ways to save. The other perspective I think on this is how much you save or how much you gain by making additional investments like bringing in rubber mats, purchasing your own rubber mats that you bring to the horse show, and buying the extra bags of shavings, and making sure that your horse has the supplements that they need, and there is a lot that, so yeah, you're spending more money than not doing those things, but you're also getting more out of your horse and out of your experience, and your horse is going to last longer. There's also that kind of longer term investment side of things, right?
I think health of the horse, don't skimp on.
Yeah.
If that involves some supplements, some vet work, don't skimp on that, because if you shave a year off of your horse's competitive career, you'll save that money by keeping them going. If we see it a lot, people go into a show, well, I'm only going to be here overnight, I just want, I'll just put a bag or two of shavings on a cement stall. That's one thing I don't think you should skimp on. I think you should keep them comfortable. I think the rubber mats, especially if we're going to be there for lengths of time, we like to do rubber mats on most of the horses.
And if you do make the investment in rubber mats, a lot of times you can save a little bit more on shavings. Yeah, there's so many different ways to look at it. It really depends on what you're trying to achieve.
I think though definitely the best thing is you need to talk to other people and see what works. Whether it be rubber mats, whether it be certain things like that. If you're going in there with one horse, most people, they have a wheelbarrow at home, but if you start hauling 3 or 4 wheelbarrows, something's going to get broken. Share. Everybody just kind of share in that, in your group. But definitely be prepared for whatever type of show you're going to, whether it be a club show, a major event, whatever. Be prepared for what you want to get accomplished. We see so many people show up and they haven't been riding their horse that week. We went to a schooling show a couple of weeks ago, and a few people come in and, well, I didn't ride this week, I didn't do this, I didn't, and you think, then it is a waste of money.
Yeah.
And you didn't get a good deal out of it.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how you can put a little bit of money into a horse show if you are prepared and whatever, you feel good about doing it. It's a great entertainment value. Potlucks, yes, potlucks are a great idea.
So yeah, somebody's saying, Alyssa is saying,
or bring your own food is another one. Food's expensive at food booths.
Plan potlucks or bring your own food to avoid having to go out to eat every meal. I always stay in a stall. My Taj Mahal has definitely taken off a life of its own. A blow-up air mattress, covered plastic ceiling, lights, fans, heaters, etc. I love it.
Oh, she has it all.
Not to mention all the loose horses I've caught overnight. Okay, so I think that's great. And I saw that Lisa also said I would totally sleep in a stall. For me, that's not going to work. I will not be able to focus. I won't be able to show. I won't be able to enjoy myself. I won't be able to be a functional human being if I don't get good sleep. So a hotel or sleeping in a horse trailer, something like that is a good investment for me.
No, for me.
Also for you, for all of us.
I sleep in the.
You can sleep anywhere though. I'm not a person that can sleep anywhere, and
No.
if I don't get my sleep, then I can't function. So yeah, that's amazing, Alyssa. If you can save horses that are cast in the middle of the night, and do you want to come show with us?
It's amazing when
Everybody
you
is
talk
different
about
though.
that.
Everybody's different. Everybody's horse is different. The places where you can cut back and the places where you have to invest. You just have to.
When she talks about cast horses, I don't know how many times we've been walking back to the stalls late at night when nobody's around, and had to peel somebody's horse, and that we don't even know.
Caught in a hay net. Somebody's
Hay nets are a big
cast,
one. We've cut I don't know how many of those.
Undone their bandages and they're in a mess. Yeah.
And yeah, it's a weird thing, but it sure is nice having that. For me, knowing that if something like that happens, somebody's around. But yeah, that's completely aside from saving money. But yeah, I think the being prepared is a huge one. I think this year, who would have thought the biggest illegal activity you could do to make money would be siphoning gas out of people's gas tanks?
Siphoning gas? Yeah.
Maybe the best way to make money this year will be selling diesel.
Sarah says, I'm with Lindsay. I'll nap on an air mattress in the horse trailer if I absolutely have to, but you'd better believe I'm getting a real bed at a multi-day show. I've gotten better.
That's
I've gotten
something you
better.
have to decide for yourself.
Yeah. And then you share it. You can share a hotel room with somebody else. If you're the person that can sleep with other people in the room, then you can share a hotel room and you can make it really inexpensive. We went down to Congress one time, and I went down, there was 8 of us in one hotel room because a couple people could sleep on the floor and that didn't bother them, or they brought an air mattress. We all just crammed in, and was it like $120 a night hotel room? I don't think it was even that. I bet you it was under $100 a night, and there was 8 of us in there for 4 days.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and you better believe we ate the breakfast. We did all the things. Yeah.
And I think that's something like for everybody has their different, different things to do, and I think that also goes to saying like everybody has a different budget when they go to show. I can remember the first year I showed reiners on my own. I didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. And boy, I slept in my truck. I didn't get tack stalls. There was no way I was gonna, waste money on that. So my tack was in the alleyway, and, I had a lock kind of on it. And of course I didn't have anything. Nobody was gonna steal it anyways, but and you can go that way. And then, now, multi-day events, I want heat. When I sleep, I don't sleep at the stalls in multi-day events. I want heat. I don't really care where it's at, but I want heat. We have some customers who show on a budget. We work very hard to help them on it. We have some customers who, have a healthier budget, and they can do that, and great for everybody.
Yeah.
But it's whether you want to do it or not. Is up to you. Somebody just put on there sharing show pads and show head stalls.
Yeah, I like
you can
that.
change
That was a
up
good
your
one.
outfit, and everybody gets to borrow stuff, and I think that really works. I lend out lots of bits at horse shows. And I tell people all the time, if you're only going to use it once or twice, just use one of mine. When they want one, gladly sell them one, but I'm not offended by let's try one before. And I think that's a big thing when you get to the shows. It's easy to, get caught up in buying a new bit at the show, or buying other ways to save money. Make sure your horse is shod before you go to shows. The farriers at shows charge a premium. You know, make sure they're done before you head to the horse show. Make sure you have your equipment.
Make sure you have your passport so you're not buying the rush.
How's that going for you?
Rush. If anybody has any tips for how to get a passport renewed right now, please let me know.
Yeah, so there's always a, there's always a way. I mean, for many years, didn't have a brand new saddle, didn't have a fancy head, I remember I took an old, I guess it wasn't old, but I took a little wee basket stamp headstall. It was the plain Jane thing. And I went to the tack store. There used to be a tack store in Thamesville at the sale barn. The Vanderboys owned it. And I remember I ordered 2 silver buckles. And I think they cost me like $30.
And you just put that on your
I
old
put
headstall?
these on an older headstall, and I had more people compliment it because it was so plain and simple, but it looked nice. And that was at the time everybody was getting into the big silver long things, and it fit the horse. But I made it, and it wasn't complicated. I just took the old headstall apart and put a thing on there, and I had that for years. And I had some saddles that were maybe just a little bit older, just that little bit out of date, where I could buy them, a lot cheaper. And nobody ever, nobody said anything to me, but the judges never cared.
No.
That's the way it was. And and then as time went on, I bought nicer equipment. I bought nicer, a little bit at a time.
I look back at the pictures from the first year that I showed, and I had a borrowed hat, a borrowed set of chaps that were too big. Like, I had everything borrowed. It was just all kind of patched together. And I prefer not to do that now. I prefer to have, well fitted new. But I couldn't afford to do it. And I was so fortunate to have people around me who were like, and I think generally people at horse shows are that way, and horse people are that way. Oh, you're going to show here. I have a pair of chaps. Try mine, or try my hat, or here's my headstall. Borrow my headstall when you go in. People are generally really willing to help you out if you're trying to be budget conscious.
And I think when being budget conscious on any equipment, right from the truck, the trailer, right down to the headstalls or whatever, you're always better to buy good used equipment in combine the two and buy brand new really good equipment. But I bought used saddles for years, and they were good saddles, so they
bought
rode
used
well.
saddles right up until like this year, your whole life. Oh no, I guess you had some new ones when you bought saddles before. Yeah.
Not very many though. Like,
no.
I still especially when I started out, it was good. I always tell your coaches too. Like, there's a lot of times if you say, does this look right? There's some really good ideas where you can very inexpensively make it work. And
so Jesse Joe is saying, I had a trainer that told me once he showed at Congress one year and was so broke that him and his son ate hot dogs that were warmed up using the hairdryer in their hotel that was too cheap to even have a microwave. I love that. Well, story.
That trainer was pretty sophisticated, because
hilarious.
I haven't got a hotel at the Congress for years.
That's hilarious. That's giving me flashbacks to that mass shower room at Congress. Remember that?
Oh, the
group shower room. If you don't have a hotel and you have to go to that
in the old Gilligan building.
They're like, well, what's the point of the dividers there?
And a lot of that stuff too. Maybe not at the time, but that was when it had fun.
How do we get on to hot dog toasters? Okay. We need to wrap this up tonight. Thanks for being here with us, you guys. And I hope that gave you maybe some ways to save, or maybe some justification for the things that you are spending money on. Like I said, we are going to touch on all of the things that you need to bring to a show. If you have suggestions for things that you have on your list, you can add them in the comment section here. That would be fantastic, and we'll add some of the things that you have to contribute there. And we will do a whole live all about that. Our tack item for this week, we didn't touch on our tack item yet. Our tack item is, once again, our corner feeders. If you haven't seen our corner feeders yet, we did a Facebook Live on them. You can go to the education page on our website and look up hay feeder or corner feeder, or you can go right onto our tack shop and have a look at the description there. But they are amazing. Thank you to those of you who have already purchased one and have sent us a message to say how much you love them. We're glad that you're enjoying them. And we do have some left. What do we have? 20 corners up there and 10 flats. We have a bunch. We still have a bunch. So if you are interested in some of those, then you can send us a message and we'll get you hooked up with those. Momentum is open. I know I said I was only going to open it for a short amount of time, but I have been so busy I haven't really had proper time to promote it. If you have questions about Momentum, make sure you send me a message. Momentum is actually an amazing way for you to save money when you're going to show, because there are so many resources in there for you, helping you get ready for the shows, helping you work on things in between so that you're not missing that part that I said at the beginning, which is the preparation and the support. Shoot me a message if I can give you any info about that. Again, thanks for being here, you guys, and pitching in with your hot dog toaster stories, and we'll see you next week.
I was just thinking of some of the times I cheaped out, and a bunch of us would go together, and some of the hotels that we ended up at, this is cheap, it'll be great.
Ooh, I don't even want to think about it anymore.
Some of it was interesting, and the memories that were made.
I'm just going to block that group shower room from my memory. Okay. Good night, you guys. Thanks for being here.